One second. Man, look what y'all did, man. This is crazy. I just want to say thank you guys so much for always showing love, always showing support. You guys know who you are already. Everybody in the Discord, for whoever's been on the channel, whoever's been showing love on podcasts and everything on Twitter. Just thank you guys so much, man. This is awesome. But I know why you guys are here. We started a new series today, Anime Free-for-All. Now, first I want to shout out Espada Senpai on TikTok for these great anime free-for-all battles. Let's just get right into it. Now, the first one is kind of crazy. Now, let me just say right off the bat that we are doing anime only, because there are only certain characters that I know about their manga feats, and others I do not have the manga feats available to me. So because of that, I think us just starting off anime only will be good. Now in this free for all, we have Deku from My Hero Academia, we have Arthur from Fire Force, Gojo from JJK, we have Jalal from Fairy Tail, Escanor from Seven Deadly Sins, Pain from Naruto, Alibaba from Magi, Sanji from One Piece, and then to finish it off, we have Asta from Black Clover. Now this is wild. I mean, we have magic users, non-magic users. You know what? Let's just start off with that, because it looks like we're trying to find out who is getting knocked out first and who's going to be the last man standing. Now immediately I already see 4 magic users on this chart. I see Jalal, I see Escanor, I see Asta, and I also see Alibaba. Now this is very important because Asta is an anti-magic user. We know that he is arcane. We know that because he's an anti-magic user, he'll be able to negate a lot of the magic users' techniques, and that does include Jalal from Fairy Tail, who we know has a heavenly body magic. We know that he can use techniques like meteors, so he's obviously one of the fastest on this chart. Because of a technique like meteor, he can also use a lot of crowd control type of attacks like Grand Chariot. We saw that used in the Grand Magic games. Jalal is no scrub at all, so I definitely don't think Jalal would be the first one out. But when it comes to magic users, I think he's towards the bottom of this list, because we also have to look at who is to the right of Jalal. That would happen to be Escanor. That would happen to be the human in Seven Deadly Sins that has access to Mael's grace. That would happen to be the person that when the clock strikes 12, you run. Because once the grace is activated, this means Cruel Sun techniques that was used to evaporate an entire lake and put Esterosa down for the count. This same Escanor tanked an attack from Galen that was able to destroy a mountain. This same Escanor was also boxing against Meliodas and was actually hanging with Meliodas, and for the first time we've seen a technique that was able to cut through a dimension, very similar to what Yami is able to do in Black Clover. So Escanor's already on the top tier of this free-for-all, so I already know he can hold his own durability wise. He's hanging in there. Alibaba is an interesting case, and the reason why I say Alibaba is interesting is because his Jin equip, the fire Jin equip, is incredible. We know that he trained underneath Sinbad, and for the first time ever we've seen his extreme magic attack literally take out an entire army of dark Jins. Now, do I think he has the stamina to keep up with a lot of the magic users? That is something that's definitely in question. He does have the speed, he does have the intellect. The fire techniques are okay, but when we start talking about his fire techniques in comparison to an Escanor, that's where I think he'll have a problem. I do think Alibaba, at least in the anime, is going to struggle against somebody like an Asta. I do think he can keep up with Jalal though. Asta is an anti-magic user, and we know that he was able to keep up with Dante. The speed required to keep up with Dante is insane, and he was able to do that. Alibaba hanging with Dante right now, at least anime Alibaba, I have questions. I don't know if he can pull that off. And I know a lot of people are looking at Arthur right now, they're saying manga Arthur is a beast, and you may be right. I don't have all of manga Arthur's feats available to me, but if we're at least talking about anime Arthur right now, I still think he's a problem. Anime Arthur was able to hang with Shinra, who was going crazy. If you put Shinra on this chart, he's arguably the fastest here, hands down. He's a great swordsman, he has access to the plasma sword. Arthur's a beast. So when we're looking at the magic users, I'm thinking Asta and Escanor are gonna keep moving. Jalal and Alibaba, I kind of have questions. I put them towards the bottom tier. Now for the non-magic users, we have Deku, we have Arthur, we have Gojo, then we have Pain and Sanji. What are we saying for this? Well, first things first, let's just look at Deku. Manga Deku, you may be able to make a greater case for him, but at least for anime Deku, I do think that the Black Whip is going to be used heavily here because he's going to be fighting multiple people at once. And the Black Whip, it looks great, but now that we're talking about these types of opponents, this is completely different than the Class 1A versus Class 1B tournament. Whatever Deku did in that tournament is dog water compared to what he's going to need to pull off to hang with the people in this. automatically he should be looking for Eri. If Eri is not here, Deku should just be packed up. As a matter of fact, I think I might have to take Deku. I think I might have to pick him to be the first one out. Not because he's a scrub, not because he does not have the offensive power, but because he cannot really control 100% full cowling right now. And he would need to do that on a free-for-all that includes the likes of an Escanor and a Gojo and an Arthur. Yeah, we need to see that from Deku immediately, and the fact that he can't really do that consistently, the fact that if he throws out one of those techniques, even the Jalal has the power to mirror techniques back to him. It's just way too much for Deku to deal with right now. I'm going with Deku going out first, anime wise. Now when we keep going, we could look at a Gojo, because we already broke down Arthur, but Gojo is key here. If Gojo's domain expansion is activated and everybody in this free-for-all is caught within that, how are they going to escape it? How are they going to deal with that technique? Now we know domain expansions are built off of curse energy. How is that going to work with magic? How is that going to work with haki when we're talking about a Sanji? Now I think for a free-for-all like this, just because we have so many different power systems, we have to kind of equalize the powers here. And if we are able to do that, I do think that an Escanor will be able to use a dimension slash that we've seen, that same dimension slash that he used against Meliodas. He'll be able to use that against Gojo at least and cut himself out of the domain expansion. Now if we count Asta's anti-magic, then in theory he could negate all of Gojo's cursed energy techniques, but I think that's a little bit cheese. I still think that the domain expansion would affect Asta because of the range of the domain expansion. We also know Gojo has access to infinity, because you have to get within close range and then you're gonna have to try to land your technique on him and it will never reach him because of the power of infinity, unless Escanor is able to cut through that with his dimension slash, which I do think should be factored in here. Jalal doesn't have an answer for that. Pain? Now, does Pain have an answer for that? Now, let's think about Pain for a second. Not only does he have Shinra Tensei, you know, the almighty push. Not only was he able to keep up with Naruto in Nine Tails mode for a very, very long time, but he also has access to the Rinnegan. And because he has access to the Rinnegan, he has access to 6 paths techniques. Well, one of these paths would happen to be a human path. What do we know about the human path? We know that the human path has the ability to remove souls. If the human path of Pain is able to remove souls from bodies, the only person that would be able to keep pushing, I feel like, would be Escanor, because we've seen Escanor's soul literally be removed from his body by Melascula, and we saw what happened to her. All right, so we know what it is already. Escanor is on a different level with his soul. Pain could figure out a way to maybe try to seal a Gojo, or maybe try to remove Gojo's soul to keep moving, but I do think that Gojo would have the ability to at least try to get Pain within his domain expansion, try to use techniques like Hollow Purple to at least keep him at bay and keep pushing. Sanji, I'm fearful for in this matchup. As a One Piece fan, I do think that Sanji has moved up in the world. Now, manga Sanji is a completely different conversation altogether, but I still think that anime Sanji has a great understanding of haki, and we know that he is a beast with his raid suit. You throw on the Sanji raid suit, the stealth black raid suit, and now you're talking about Sanji being invisible. You're talking about him having a shield. You're talking about him having the ability to fly. Sanji is now on a completely different level with the raid suit on. How many people are going to be able to stop Sanji while he's invisible? I am not sure, but I do know that if the clock strikes 12 and we have a minute, Escanor is going to be one of the last guys standing. Pain might be one of the last guys standing, depending on how the human path works out for him, and Gojo's going to be one of the last guys standing. That's who I'm looking at right now. I'm looking at those 3 as the last guys standing. I think Asta, Arthur, and Alibaba are going to be going at it, but one of them is going to get taken out. They're going to take all of each other out. Now, who's going to win out of these 3? Now, out of those 3, I have to say that I believe that Escanor has the best chance, only if we are equalizing the powers. And the reason why I say this is because Escanor is the only candidate on this entire free-for-all that has an answer for everybody. Magic negation, Escanor will be all right. He can cut through a dimension. That would be problematic for Asta if he got hit with that. Domain expansion, same thing. Escanor can find a way to get out of that. Soul being ripped out of his body, well, that's okay. Escanor has shown that he knows how to deal with that. And if we're talking about durability and pure raw strength and power, who on this chart is hanging with Escanor? Not that many. The only person I think that could keep up with Escanor right now on this chart, when we're talking about just pure hacks and power, would have to be Gojo. But again, if Gojo's domain expansion is cleared, how many moves does he have left? I mean, again, this is not a 1v1. This is a free-for-all. So we have to look at all options. I think that Escanor has a way to protect himself and deal out damage better than everybody else. So I'm gonna say that Escanor should win this free-for-all. All right, so the first time was for the fellas. Now we're moving on to the ladies. Let's look at this. We have Vanika from Black Clover. We have Merlin from Seven Deadly Sins. Tatsumaki from One Punch Man. Rukia from Bleach. We have Yamato from One Piece. Leona from Black Clover. Sakura from Naruto. Urza Scarlet from Fairy Tail. And then Big Mom from One Piece. Now, same thing goes. Who's staying and who's getting knocked out first? Now, this is a really tough one because everyone here is super powerful, but it's really going to be hard for me to pick somebody that has to go out first. Now, I will say I am not up on Manga Rukia's feats. I don't know what Manga Rukia is looking like, but I will say because Rukia has great battle IQ, there's a chance that she can still stay alive. Now, let's look to the right of Rukia. We have Yamato. Yamato is like a baby Kaido. Are you kidding me? Yamato has great haki. She can keep up with the best in them. We've seen her fight even against Ace. Ace is no scrub at all. He was a second commander of the Whitebeard Pirates, and Yamato was hanging with him while she had her handcuffs on. Yamato is built different, people. But let's look at the chart, man. Realistically, is Yamato really hanging with everybody on this chart right now? It would have to be in between Yamato or Rukia for me. Because when I look at anime Rukia, I kind of get Brook vibes, Brook from One Piece vibes, the ice sword. I see all the ice techniques. Now, I will say that Rukia does have great understanding of Kido. We've seen her use all of those techniques, and that's great. That's fantastic. But even though she has great battle IQ, the speed is not really there. The defense is not really there. Her offense is great. Her offense is probably her best asset, I would say, because we've seen her hang with some decent opponents within the Bleachverse. Nobody that was top tier, but just some decent opponents in the Bleachverse. Now, I probably will have to go with anime Rukia because I don't think Rukia realistically has the speed or the defense to keep up with everybody in this free-for-all. Right after Rukia, it would probably be Yamato. So I think Rukia and Yamato are towards the bottom tier of this free-for-all. Now let's talk about who's coming out on top. I know you guys see Sakura there. Sakura obviously is a beast. We've seen now in the anime community that adult Sakura is now moving up towards the top tier in the Boruto conversations. This is what we're hearing about Sakura. Sakura is starting to level up now. We know that Tsunade was able to crack Madara Susanoo a little bit, so just because Tsunade was able to pull off that feat, we know that Sakura is even a higher grade, a step up above Tsunade. So that's definitely something that she would be able to do. Her ability to heal herself at an elite level while boxing is something that is really unheard of. Sakura really improved on everything that Tsunade was. Now, when we look at somebody like Urza Scarlet, I think Urza Scarlet is arguably the most versatile on this list. Urza has an answer for everybody on the free-for-all, y'all. She has an armor for everything. But that doesn't matter. I mean, let's be honest. Mereoleona is there. And if there's one thing we know about Mereoleona from Black Clover, is that Mereoleona had to fight against 5 elves plus Raya, who has the ability to copy magic. And these elves had all different types of elements and all of these things. And what did Mereoleona show us? She showed us that because she has access to top tier mana zone, she can still move so fast. She can still overpower regular types of magic elements with fire. She showed us that she can train Yami, box against Yami, and help Yami level up. Mereoleona is on a different type of time. And because Mereoleona is that powerful defensively and offensively, and she showed us that versatility doesn't matter to her whatsoever, I do think that Urza Scarlet is going to take a seat some point somewhere. Big Mom. There's a lot of questions I have about Big Mom because when it comes to battle intellect, I think Big Mom is absolutely trash. I'm sorry. I'm going to be honest with you. As a One Piece fan, Big Mom is not the smartest fighter out there with her Devil Fruit techniques. But because of Big Mom's Devil Fruit techniques, we cannot sleep on her. She has the ability to lower one's lifespan if they're afraid of her. Now, do I think anybody on this chart is afraid of Big Mom? Probably not. But that's not the only thing. Her having access to Napoleon, Zeus, Prometheus, and her ability at least to survey a battle area is very key for a free-for-all. We're not talking about 1v1s, we're talking about free-for-alls. We know that Big Mom was boxing against some of the top of the worst generation on the roof. And because of this, she was showing us that she knows how to fight multiple opponents all at once. The only problem I have with Big Mom is I think that she can use her devil fruit in more effective ways, and she can use her haki in more effective ways, and we have not seen great examples of that. But Big Mom is still incredibly durable. When we talk about durability, Big Mom is probably the highest or second highest on this chart when it comes to durability, and because of that, I still think that Big Mom will probably be towards the top tier of the free-for-all rankings, but she's not winning it all, and you guys already know where I'm headed. Vanica is on the top left. We know that she's part of the Dark Triad. We know that she has blood magic, and she also has access to demon magic. Her techniques against Lodopechka and Noelle were not anything I don't think Mereoleona would be able to handle. And I don't even have Mereoleona winning this free-for-all. So because I don't have Mereoleona winning and Vanica is not winning, even if I see something different, because again, I'm only talking about anime Vanica. Manga Vanica may be on a different level, but because I'm strictly talking about anime, I still think that Vanica would be towards the top tier, but she's still losing. The only two people that we should be ever talking about when we're looking at this free-for-all right now in terms of winning is Merlin and Tatsumaki. Nobody else should be in question. I don't care about Urza. I'm a big Mereoleona fan. Mereoleona's out of here. Yamato's out of here. Everybody else is out of here. It's all about Merlin and Tatsumaki. Guys, I've been saying it all along. This is not a 1v1 battle. This is not a group battle. This is a free-for-all. When you're talking about free-for-alls, who better to choose from than a Merlin or a Tatsumaki? Now, Merlin has access to so many different types of magic. It's incredible. She can make a perfect cube, protect herself, protect others if she really, really wanted to. She can teleport people all around the battlefield. We know that she knows about the Goddess Clan magic. We know that she knows about the demon magic in Seven Deadly Sins. And we also know that she has the ability to counter or at least keep up with chaos, which is a power that nobody on this entire chart has ever dealt with in their entire lives. But on the flip side, Tatsumaki is one of the best espers that we've ever seen in all of anime. Tatsumaki is in mob conversations. This is how incredible she is. She had the ability to summon a meteor down within seconds to destroy things. I mean, she was able to stop a ship from dropping huge atomic bombs. These are light feats for Tatsumaki, might I add. If I'm being honest with you, I think I'm gonna have to go with Merlin. And the only reason why I'm gonna have to go with Merlin is that I believe Merlin is better defensively than Tatsumaki. Merlin doesn't have any access to anything crazy when it comes to healing or anything like that, but she does have great techniques to keep herself protected. And we've seen this time and time again, whether it was the fight with Galland and she was able to at least put people in a perfect cube, whether it was another crazy fight where she knew Zeldris was using curse magic against her, so she was transferring herself from different points. Like, she knows how to protect herself. She knows how to survive and keep herself alive better than most on this chart. Tatsumaki is an incredible offensive talent, but she does not really have the defensive capabilities to at least escape dire situations like Merlin. So I have Merlin being the winner, and then I would probably have Yamato or Rukia. I'm probably gonna go with Rukia to be the first one out, but it's very, very tough. I'm only talking anime Rukia, by the way. Manga Rukia, who knows? She might win. I don't know. Now, you guys let me know down in the comment section below which free-for-alls you agree with, disagree with, who you would take as winners, who you would take as the first person to get knocked out. Again, shout out to Espada Senpai for these great free-for-all charts. And if you guys like this anime free-for-all series, let me know down in the comment section below and we'll do another one. And with that, see you next time. Peace.